Overseas now, as U.S.-led airstrikes pound ISIS targets in Iraq and Syria, there is word the militants are advancing, and they're now reportedly closing in on the town of Kobani, an area which has been under assault for the last few weeks. It sits right on the border with Turkey. And now, as Turkish soldiers and tanks take up that position along the border there, its parliament is taking up a motion that could authorize military incursions into Syria and Iraq against ISIS. Joining us now, Jillian Turner, former member of the White House National Security Council staff under Presidents Bush and Obama. All right, Jillian, good to see you today. Let's talk about how critical that border is and how this now may wind up formally drawing Turkey into this entire, coalition operation against ISIS.
Well, the Turkish government has already signaled its participation in the U.S.-led anti-ISIS coalition. The big decision, the primary decision that remains to be made today by the Turkish parliament is whether or not they're going to get involved militarily. But it's important to note that the Erdogan administration is already cooperating and coordinating with the U.S. government, with the U.S. military, on the ground. They're sharing intelligence and all kinds of very important information.
Obviously, it's complex on so many levels with so many of the countries there. But let's talk about Turkey, because if they join in this militarily, I mean, they have other incursions and potential wars they're already involved with as well.
Well, look, they're facing tons of pressure from the United States, from the international community, and from the Kurds to get involved in this war. But ultimately, it's going to have to be a decision that they make, as you mentioned, based on their own unilateral national security interest, and they're going to have to make that decision on their own timetable. They're really caught between a rock and a hard place here. If they do decide to get involved militarily, it's going to mean that the government of Turkey is involved on multiple battlefronts simultaneously. They're going to be focused on keeping together the peace agreement with the PKK and ultimately maybe having to face battling the PKK internally and then ISIS externally in Syria and Iraq. So it's very difficult.
Yeah, and we see a lot of parallels in Syria as well, where there's been ongoing civil unrest, a war there that's taken nearly 200,000 lives. We've got the Free Syrian Army. There was hesitancy for a couple of years to arm them or really help them in substantive ways. So as they're battling the Assad regime and didn't get a whole lot of help from the U.S., at least concrete help that they had been asking for, now we're asking them to help us fight ISIS. So again, that's going to stretch them in two different directions. But now at a time that the U.S. really needs them, do you think they're going to feel the love?
Well, look, they have made incredible strides towards helping us so far. The Erdogan administration, as you mentioned, has already done a tremendous job of harboring over 1 million Syrian refugees that have just been pouring across the border. They've provided these refugees with everything from food and shelter to medical attention. We're hearing even education, setting up these sort of interim temporary schools for children. So that's one very important way that they're helping and are going to continue to help, no matter, regardless of the decision that's made by the Turkish parliament today.
All right, Jillian Turner, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Eric?
Well, Shannon, voters in 2 states carried by President Obama might help